period, and we have until midnight, I guess that's Mountain Time, to get any last minute orders in. Please make sure that you're qualified. Okay, qualified meaning to get your check, qualified to get paid. So just, before you go to bed last night, just double check that you have it's still 200 points to qualify. It's going to be going to 300 in the next month or two, but right now it's still 200. Make sure you got your 200 in. And anyway, we definitely don't want to miss the opportunity to be paid for the work that we do. Before I go through a list of things, April's got a training for you tonight also, but I just want to welcome some friends from Canada. Fred, where are you? Are you on the screen there? Would you wave, Fred? Oh, there he is. Okay. Fred Hodgkins is on with us and his team, and I think Mike Haney and his, I think it's actually all the same team, but they're going to be joining us on Sunday night. So welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining. You're always welcome.
Thank you.
But we're
you guys, your leadership. So thank you.
Well, we appreciate you guys too, and we're hoping to call on you for some help in Canada in the near future. So
absolutely.
But I got a few things, so grab a pen and paper, please. Just a couple things I want to cover, and then April's going to do our regular team training tonight. But I want to say congratulations to everybody for having a better month of April than you beat March. Okay, April beat March, and that should always be the goal. And is that you and your team at least do a little bit better than the month before. Okay, that should always be. You always want to see if you can add to your enrollments personally. You always want to add to your team's enrollments, and most importantly, you want to see volume going up. And obviously that leads to the gemstone ranks and the overall ranks of people moving up. Okay, they're all directly related. So congratulations on having a better April than March. And one thing I want you to understand, April and I have been doing this for not LifeVantage for 5 years, but been in the industry full time for 30 years. We're in a period of April, May, June, which is like the very best time of the year to do business. Okay, the weather's getting better. People are coming out of their homes. The clothes are lightening up. It's just that time of year. And you really want to take advantage of creating momentum. And April's going to give you a bunch of ideas on how to do things. But, April's behind us now. May and June are still in front of us. And this is really a time where you want to dig in and be very consistent in what you're reaching out and stuff. So it's just, when we get into July and August, you got to work it a little bit more because a lot of people are on vacation, but the average person doesn't realize when you're on vacation, that is the best time to do business because everybody is in a good mood. And considering we only need a cell phone to do business, July and August should be some of the very best months, okay? But, you got to have a mindset for it. So anyway, just keep that in mind. But as we stand, we have 6 diamonds on the team for April, and hopefully 2 more before midnight strikes, okay? There's 2 that are close. Dr. Castori just made it, and I want to congratulate Dr. Goodman. He hasn't been work in the business long, and he just hit Sapphire tonight. So Ira, good job. Jay, a good job. We will have all the rank advancements and all the gem advancements later in the week after the month closes. Okay, we'll acknowledge and recognize everybody. Don't forget, on Tuesdays now, the company corporate is doing a momentum call. And that momentum call is kind of replacing, it's a combination of things, but it's replacing the old Premier call, okay, that was out there. And the Premier call was only once a month. The momentum call that corporate is doing, and they're always going to have a guest speaker, a distributor or consultant on, picking a topic that And I think generally the topic that they pick is probably what's most talked about or complained about at corporate. Okay, so that's normally like where the topic comes from, is what's working best in the field or what would be most helpful for the field. So that is, let's see, I wrote that time down. You can check your email because that's in your email. It's always on Facebook Live, the corporate page, US consultant page, and it's at 5 p.m. Eastern. So you're going to have to adjust it accordingly, whatever that is based on the time zone you're in, but it's 5 p.m. Eastern. But I got a couple other things I'm going to bring up, but I want to give April as much time as she needs. So April, it's all yours.
Okay, thanks. How's everybody doing? So I have a training tonight, and I want to talk about getting more in person, how we can do it. You know, I always feel that we all don't do this business the same way. There are many, many ways to do this business. Some of the ways that I talk about, and I'm only going to pick 3 due to time, but some of you may be familiar. Hopefully it'll give you some new ideas. The whole thing that we want to do with people is find a comfort zone for each of you to be able to build your business. And so that's why I like to throw out these ideas. You know, even Bobby and I have very different approaches. Even when we work together, we have very different approaches on, you know, how we go about as far as sponsoring new people in the business. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, there we go. Okay, you can see that now, I hope. Okay.
You're good.
Move this over a little bit. Okay, all right. So we're going to talk about getting personal with your network. Getting by personal, you know, I saw some statistics, and this is what really made me think about this. You know, COVID's over. People need to get back out. People need personal relationships. And so this is actually some of the way that I've been building our business, Bobby and I, to get back in person with people. Because, you know, one of the things that always sticks in the back of my mind is Bobby says, you know, if you can get in front of them, you're always so much better, meaning me. I'm much better when I can sit across from that person as opposed to trying to work through texting or, you know, through social media or, you know, some other way. So we're going to talk about, you know, why, how, and where to look for these people as far as, where did we go? Are you still there, Bobby?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. All right. It says discover all. I don't know what that's all about. But anyway, okay.
Everything's good. Everything's good.
Okay. So, you know, live events are the most effective. And this is a quote. This is something I saw online. Strategic promote content according to 75. And actually, I can't see this now. I don't know what this is. All right. So, but, you know, we all need personal contact. That is one of the things that is important. That's inbred in us. That's human nature. We certainly need that. One of the things when we do talk to people in person, just as I was saying with Bobby, you know, it gets easier for both of us, for the person that you're looking to get involved in the business and create that relationship with, and the person who's doing the recruiting or sponsoring, is we get to use all of our senses, which are so important. You know, they can see your excitement. It doesn't always have to be your words. You know, our physiology, the way that we look, we smile, we act, is up to 90% of what a person perceives when they first see you. So, you know, if somebody decides they don't like somebody right away, it's not because of the words that came out of their mouth. It's because of the way they're dressed or something that reminded them of somebody previously. So that's why when we can use all these senses, it makes life much easier. They can feel your excitement. If they're excited, and if you're excited, they can feel that excitement there. One of the things, and maybe you can really relate to this here, is they can feel, see, and touch if you sample them on the products. And I don't know how often recently I had someone tell me they sampled one little bottle of collagen and they're like, that tastes so good, they bought the collagen. So, you know, this is where we have a huge advantage when we're meeting in person. We still need that personal contact. So, you know, we need to get around people. And how are some of the ways, and why are we going to get around those people? We need to be around like-minded people. And this is going to be really important. You kind of need to sit down and figure out your type of person that you want to be around. You know, particularly when we're attending events. And this is what I want you to think about. we need to attend events. It's important because of the like-minded people. You know how everybody, and we have a funny story. You know how when everybody goes to these events, everybody's like super, super excited. We had, and previously when our kids were young, Bobby and I used to leave, and some of you may have heard this story. We used to leave the events Sunday morning. There'd be a Saturday night party this is with our old company. And we'd leave the events very early the next morning, usually the very first flight out, which a lot of times would be a 6 o'clock flight. Well, we happened to be on the airplane after an event. It was a good event. We had some very excited distributors with us. In fact, one was sitting right behind us, and he was sitting next to a gentleman who at 6 o'clock in the morning had every intention of just wanting to go to sleep. Didn't want to be rude, but wanted to go to sleep, didn't want to talk, certainly not, about a networking or a multi-level marketing opportunity. And, our distributor being so excited, started at products and was doing comp plan before our plane even took off, which totally turned this guy off. But that's because he was so excited. That's what we need when we do these, when we attend these in-person events. We need that excitement to keep us in the business, to go another day. So you need to get around people. And I want to talk about how you can do that. But, you're able to talk openly about your dreams, your goals, your struggles. A lot of times just another product testimony, so often even, we do some smaller meetings, somebody has a product testimony and everybody's like, I never heard that. I didn't know that about the product. And everybody gets excited, and you can see product sales go up from that. You can also see when we're around other LifeVantage distributors, we're not judged as much. You can say, you can share your struggles, you can share your achievements, and you're just not judged because people have that same, mindset. We gather stories for sure that we can go ahead and share and build our business. We get more testimonies and we hear more science. But again, the big thing is we leave refueled and excited. And, if we're not around and we stay home because maybe we got lazy with COVID and we decided it's easier maybe to watch it virtually, not to be around people, you're going to find that, you feel alienated, you feel unsure about your business, you're not sure what's going on. So I want to tell you, one of the first meetings that Bobby and I ever went to when we got involved in this industry was we literally drove in a car 16 hours to Atlanta to that meeting. There were 4 of us in a very small car. And one of the guys was a bodybuilder. And remember those hand things that and it kind of made squeaky the whole way, like 16 hours there, 16 hours back. So I thought Bobby was going to kill him by the time we, got done there. But anyway, so, those like-minded events and every effort you can make to get to them are going to be very important to helping you with your business, get back in person, because this really is not a business meant to stay at home and do it all by yourself. So, how can we create these events, even if you're in an area where nothing's going on? Maybe you feel like you're one of 2 or 3 people in an area. You can create an event with just 2 of you. Better 2 of you be together than none of yours. I know there are some areas, Bobby and I can't travel into areas all the time, but, people should be creating their own meetings, their own events, in person to get their group around people, even if it just starts with another person. It always just starts with another person, that person you get in. Check the Big Blue calendar. More and more events have been coming up there. And if you're anywhere near anything, get in a car and go. You never know who else you might meet from there, how they may be able to help you with your business or you be able to help them with theirs. So, again, that's a meeting you definitely want to get to, and, create an event or plan a virtual meeting where you all get to that meeting, or do your own meeting. Like I was saying, so important to start to get used to doing that yourself. They used to say the person in front of the room is the person that makes all the money, because that person's doing more meetings. They're attending more meetings. They're talking to more people. So get comfortable with it. If you would have seen Bobby's and my first meetings, I read off the index cards. I couldn't even make eye contact with anybody. That was definitely not me. And Bobby's voice cracked the whole time like he was going through puberty again. So it was just, we would laugh. Same with my social. When I look back at my social, first reels, first everything. I'm like, oh my goodness, I just almost want to delete it all. So we all have to start somewhere. But again, what comes across is your body language. It's not so much the words coming out of your mouth, it's how you feel about your opportunity. The other thing that we've done here is we plan a happy hour. We plan a social meeting. If you're uncomfortable with doing a so-called meeting, get whoever you can get together. It's always fun because we always say we're not going to talk business. We always wind up talking a lot of different business there. And then, you've heard the sip and glows. It's an easy thing. It's not like it has to be a meeting per se where anybody even has to do the numbers or anything. You just do a sip and glow and get more people around our opportunity. Okay, so these are the 3 ways, and this is really what I want to discuss, that you can network. And one of the first ways that Bobby and I did was actually through people. And, I was always kind of a planner. I'd always look around, and if you've been around me, I would always say, pick the person who decides where we're going to eat dinner, the person who decides where we're going to eat lunch, the person that makes decisions for large groups. They're already a people mover and they've got lots of contacts. So meet people through other people. So I may have a friend, Sally. Maybe Sally's not interested in the business. Maybe Sally's just not right for this business. She's not interested in working. She's kind of a low-key person. Maybe she doesn't even like people, but she knows Ann. And Ann is a firecracker. Ann decides where we're all going to go to lunch. Ann decides, if we're going to do book club. Ann decides where we're playing tennis. She just is the people mover. So I make an appointment at some point, and not on a business note at all, but just to say, Sally, I really want to see if you and Ann and I can go out for wine or something, or, figure out a way. So this is one of the ways that Bobby and I actually built our first company. Our biggest market was, there was a doctor in the tennis club where I played, and I knew who his wife was. And I always kind of scout out people, what they do. And I always look for people who know people. That was always the thing. And we found out, and I'm going to abbreviate this story because it's a little bit of a long story, but we figured out a way that Bobby and I, who did not play tennis at that point, could actually play tennis with this doctor and his wife, who, over the course of playing tennis, we got involved in our business. Well, that tennis game literally brought millions of dollars in sales to our business. And I don't know how much it made us ourselves, but it was a huge, huge part of our business. But again, it was done through not the person that was going to do the business or introduce, because that was just the receptionist behind the counter. But that introduction got us to play tennis with the people who were the real people that we wanted in the business. So sometimes think about, as you're maybe at a party, maybe you notice you don't personally know the hostess because somebody else invited you, or you meet somebody at a party who you just notice is fluttering around, talking to everybody, has great presence and stuff. Figure out who knows that person and how you can get an introduction to that person, so that maybe you go to lunch, you go to get coffee together, you do something, I might invite them to play tennis or something. So meet people through other people. And that's a great way to get into different networks that you may not already be in. The other thing is, I want to kind of clear up social. I know going through COVID, a lot of people believe we're doing so much business on social. And I want to tell you how I view social and how I try to use it mostly. I do sell a lot of product, get people involved through social, but the easier way for me has always been to target somebody on social who is somewhat local. So it's funny. The second one is even funnier, but lately we've been playing a lot of pickleball. Bobby's playing pickleball. We have a great group in the neighborhood. A lot of my girlfriends play. So it's a hot topic. People are excited that they play pickleball more so than tennis. So I might type in the search bar, pickleball Orlando or pickleball Sanford, or the name of a pickleball club. And that will bring up all kind of posts of people that, are playing pickleball in the area. And then I just look at the post, and if I can make a comment or relate to a post, I'm going to just write a message or a comment in that post. I'm going to look at their profile, make sure that there's somebody that I want to be friends with. I'm going to add them as a friend, and then I'm going to have a conversation with them in Messenger, a private conversation. I'm going to take it off the wall, have a private conversation. And in that conversation, knowing that we're somewhat local, I'm going to try to meet that person for coffee. So you see, that's a whole different thing than trying to get the person because we liked posts or they liked my post. to send them a link to join the business or buy product. It just doesn't work that way. And it's funny, for some reason, just out of nowhere, I put hot dogs in Orlando. And what was funny, and some of you will get this, one of our distributors, Denise Coffee, actually came up as having a post of hot dogs in Orlando to show you how the more specific you can be in that search, it can be real exciting. So that's another way to get people that are around you that you can actually get in front of and have some conversation with, because the thing in this business is it's a little effort to get these people, but you get one person and they bring in a whole nother market for you to be able to deal with. All of their friends, all the people that they know. So we need to keep, reaching out to talk to some more people. And the third way is networking events. And I've been doing more and more of these. And again, I'm extreme introvert, but I need to force myself to do different ways. And I'm actually enjoying two different ways that I found in networking. I always cringed and did not do for years the typical networking event where you went, you stood up, and this is what I do, and this is what I'm looking for. That just, to me, just to stand up in front of 20, 25 people and not have any FaceTime really with them, be able to connect other than the two that you're sitting around, too much time, too little reward for it. So I want you to go to check up either meetups. They have a big organization all over. Again, dial it down to your area, or Facebook for local networking events, and see what's going on. And I'm going to tell you that the two that I really like, anything that's a happy hour networking where I can mingle. I don't want to have to sit at a table where I'm restricted, but if I can get a glass of wine and I can make the room to the people, because obviously I'm a woman, I'm looking for other women. So sorry guys, but I'm not going to approach the guys. That has no value for me because I want to talk collagen anyway. So, that's kind of my thing. Guys, you have to figure out, you actually have it easier because you can talk money and just talk to the other guys about making money, because that's why they're there anyway. So you actually have a shortcut, but again, you got to know your market. And then more recently, there's something called Alignable that I've come across. And what I really like about that is Alignable is where we got the local networking that Jennifer, who's on here, I think I saw that she was on here. She and I have gone a couple times, and we really like that. We've collected a lot of information, phone numbers, and it's more important when you do these things that you collect phone numbers instead of give yours out. Don't give out a business card, collect the phone numbers. And then as soon as I'm in the car, I write notes on everything that I took down and stuff. I put it in my phone and all. So make sure you're collecting phone numbers. So I would rather get a business card than give a business card, just a little tip there. But then Alignable, which is online, and led us to this in-person. So they have online and in-person networking. They have what's really cool that I did recently is called Smart Connect. And so you book an hour out, they'll tell you the hours, all different kind of different groups there, but you actually meet 5 to 7 people within that hour. And again, I just asked for phone numbers, and then we connected the conversation afterwards. So if it was a person I didn't like, I didn't really talk to them. We just did some small talk for the 7 minutes that you talk. But if it's somebody that I really wanted, then I had the conversation. I said, hey, give me your number so we can text afterwards, and we can talk some more because we're going to run out of time here. So I really like that. So you might want to look up Alignable. But these are just some ways that we can work to take people offline, people we don't know, and get into different markets. If you feel like you've kind of tapped, which should never happen, you feel like you've tapped everybody in your phone and stuff. But these are some ways that you can get into some different markets of people or pockets of people, so that, again, you can get their contacts and build your business there. So that's basically what I wanted to go over tonight. So I'm going to stop this share. And then if you all have questions, stop share. Okay, there we go. So we're back. So I hope that was helpful. Again, I think it's so important for us to think of different ways, the way that we are most comfortable doing business. If you're comfortable on social and that's been successful for you, please continue. If you're doing something that isn't other than I mentioned, continue to do that. But if you're struggling to get those new contacts in, new customers, new consultants, then you still have to work on yourself and figure out different avenues to be able to reach out to more people. So Bobby, back to you, and then we'll ask for questions at the end. Sure. As we always do.
Great information as always. And what I want to share with you, and hopefully you can understand what I'm about to say. This is a business where at some point in time, you have to learn and function where it's not a light switch anymore that you can turn on or off. The switch has to always be on. The antennae have to always be working. We have to always be searching and looking. In other words, we never go anywhere or do anything without the antennae being on. Okay, and I don't mean on to attack and pounce on people and jump on people and say things, you know, that the conversation hadn't led that way, say things out of context. That is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is April and I never go anywhere without the antennae being on. And that means when there's an opportunity to make a friend, we're going to make a friend. If there's an opportunity to compliment somebody on what they do or what they're doing, or to acknowledge what they do or what they're doing, we're going to acknowledge it. If there's an opportunity to bring up what we do, okay, then we're going to bring it up, okay? But not for the point of trying to sell them something. But if it's in the beginning, like, you know, we've been playing a lot of pickleball, and April knew all of the people. It's a group of probably 12 of us, and there's always 8 playing. There's always somebody traveling that can't play. And she knew most, if not all of them, before I did, because a lot of them played tennis, and she met them through tennis. And then a way of getting the guys involved and doing it as couples was pickleball. Okay, that was an easy way to network the whole thing together. And we are always looking to make sure people know what we do, not that we're trying to sell them something. And it goes back to the referrals that April was talking about. And, you know, and there's not a place we go where somebody isn't on the collagen. There's not a tennis court in the area that April plays on that somebody's not on Tri-Synergizer or collagen. Even when we go to the beach, and we do that a lot, okay? The point of that is to make new friends. It's not to sell something. I mean, you heard the story about Santa Claus. You know, remember, we live in Florida, so there is no snow, okay? And we're at the beach, and there's a guy in a Santa suit riding a bike with shorts on, okay? He had it all right. He had long gray hair. He had a long gray beard. He was fatter than heck. He had the Santa suit on. He had it all right, other than he was wearing shorts and there was no snow, okay? But he happened to be parked next to us. And, you know, the Jeep is a good topic. People ask, what's biohacker? You know, what does that emblem on your Jeep mean? It's a good one. And you don't need a Jeep to do this, but what I want you to understand is it happens to be a door opener on different occasions, but we also make it a door opener. Last week, we had a lady pull in next to us. It was a tight squeeze. It was very crowded at the beach. And I noticed she had a military decal on her back window. So when she came over, said, "Hey, sorry for squeezing." And I said, "Oh, no problem," you know, and I said, "Thank you for your service." Do you know, saying thank you for your service had her talk to us for 20 minutes? She just stayed and continued talking and basically told us her life story. And April's making arrangements. She's going to meet us at one of the happy hours somewhere sometime soon. But it ended up she worked in the town where we live. Okay. So my point is this, and it's right in line with what April was talking about. Always have your antennae on. You want to be sending a signal, okay, where you're open, okay? But you never want to look like you're waiting to pounce on somebody. You want people asking, so what do you do? Well, what gets them to ask, so what do you do? Well, probably because you asked and had a conversation with them over what they do. Okay, that's probably how you get them to ask what you do is that, okay? So, but getting back to the point that I want to make, when April and I stopped turning the switch on and off, and what I mean is the business switch, okay? When we stop turning it on and off, when you get to the point where you can't turn it off. Like it would hurt more to turn it off than to leave it on. When you get to that point, that's when things happen in your business. Because you're sending the right signal, okay? You're making friends, you're making contacts. You never let an opportunity slip by. And again, I'm not talking about pouncing on someone to buy your stuff or your wares, okay? That is not what I'm talking about. You know, April was going, I'll give you a scenario. She don't even tell you half of what she does, but she picked up a customer. It was social media. It was through tennis because she plays tennis 3 or 4 times a week. And it ends up the lady makes tennis clothes and nice ones. And the lady offered to send April a sample, which is a tennis skirt. Okay. And I'm thinking, boy, this lady is smart. Well, April's already arranged when she's in the area to meet with her. Okay. And has already played it out where if she likes that skirt, she's got hundreds and hundreds of friends that play tennis, and they have not seen that skirt because it's an online thing. It's not something you're seeing in the store with Nike or whatever. It's the lady's brand. Well, guess what those folks are going to do? They're going to ask about the skirt. Okay. Well, what's the lady going to do in return? Well, that's the lady I get my collagen from. And that's how the referrals happen. It's very natural. It just comes, and it could be anything that you do. But I encourage you, if there's something you love to do it all the time. But do it all the time to make friends and get into conversations. And I'm telling you, the business then happens naturally. We were playing pickleball yesterday before we drove down to South Florida. And the lady was saying she has trouble seeing the ball sometimes. I guess she's going to have to do something with a cataract or whatever. I don't know exactly what it is. April knows the lady. And I just said, hey, we happen to be in the wellness business and have a great product for eye health. I said, we'll drop off a sample bottle for you. See what it does for you. Can't do any harm. You know, it's all natural. And she smiled and said, thanks. And then we went back to playing pickleball. Okay. You just got to let it come and let it be natural. But if your first goal is to be friends and be of service, the rest will happen. Okay. If your first goal is to sell something to somebody, man, you're in for a long, quiet stretch. Okay. Because people sense that and they can pick up on that. So, but April, are there any other announcements before we open up? See if anyone has any questions.
No, let's go ahead and open up so we have time for questions.
So Fred, I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask the first question since you and your guest are new here tonight. Everybody else hears from me in April all the time. So would you or anyone on your team have a question you'd like us to elaborate on?
Well, I think this was great, especially since we're post-COVID and they're just actually figuring that out up here in Canada. And I think by the middle of May, we're actually going to be allowed into the United States. So that's
you
good.
still can't come here.
No, and that's actually on your
you
side.
need to come in from the south. The south border is open.
That's what everybody says. Yeah, like, we can go to Mexico and then come in. Yeah.
Just don't come in through the north, but the south is open for everybody.
That's right. Yeah, well, they're not. If you pay taxes, that they limit you there too. But that's another whole story. No, thanks so much. Those three points, and I'm going to look up Alignable. I've heard of that, but I've never used it. And but yeah, just being, I agree, just being on all the time, listening, asking questions, caring about them, and not pouncing all over people. And I think a lot of people, when they hear, as you said, that to be on all the time, I'm glad you clarified that, because people hear the other. And I think it's mainly our fear, right? Our fear of, the past programming and past experiences. And that's not it at all, right? When you care about someone and you know what you got, and when you know what we have, oh my goodness. But you don't want to be like you explained your distributor on the airplane, right? When he's so excited as he was. And I know
I would have given anything. This was like before technology. This was a long time ago. I would have given anything to have it recorded and be able to use it for training.
Great training
It
video.
would have been the greatest training of what not to do ever.
Have your cell phone over your shoulder into the back seat. But no, great training. I don't know, anybody else has any questions?
Yeah, and
Just thank-
it's open to everybody. Anyone got a question?
Yeah, this is Michael Haney in Atlanta.
Hey, good to see you again. We just saw you recently.
Yes, we did, and it's a joy for me. I would say that that wouldn't you say that there's a big difference between being in LifeVantage and having LifeVantage be in you?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt, you know, you know, look, everybody's got a right to work the business or not work the business any way they choose. Okay. We are a volunteer army and we are required to do nothing. Okay. But the ones that the way you just explained it, you know, the ones that accept the business and the products as something that could be very, very helpful to the vast majority of people in the world, then they accept the responsibility to share it with them. They're the ones that get results. The ones that don't, you know, and again, this isn't a knock on the way anybody does anything, but you either feel like you have an obligation to let people know there's something healthy out there they should look at, or if finances are concerned, there's an opportunity that they should look at. You either feel a responsibility to do that or you don't. And if you don't, it's a struggle, you know? So yeah, well put, well put. Anyone else? Who else we got? Everybody good?
just to put.
Well,
just
we
to
still have about
emphasize that
5
one thing.
hours before the pay period ends. So I don't know if you have any last minute things going on. You know, I always stay up until it's over just in case somebody has something last minute going on. But keep in mind, April, May, and June are very, very big months in this industry. And, you know, it's kind of like people are getting out and about again. And sorry about that, Fred, that they were still doing COVID up in Canada. I'm really sorry about that. But, you know,
That's what
in
it is.
Florida, we never did it in the first place. So
I know.
we just didn't do it. Okay. But people are getting out and about. And I firmly believe it'll never be exactly the way it was before COVID.
That's right.
But I also believe God wired us to interact and be around people. And we need that, okay? We need to be around people. And I think once people start getting around people again, they're gonna realize how much they missed it. And they're gonna do it more and more and more, okay? It's gonna give them kind of like an adrenaline rush when they realize, wow, I didn't even realize I missed this, you know? April and I say it all the time when we're at the beach. We're just like, man, we just, and we go a lot, but we both tell each other we should do it more.
Right.
Okay, because every time we go, we meet new people. Every time we go, we get new prospects and we have a great day.
Yeah.
You know, and we constantly, so yeah, April, your training was perfect tonight. I mean, perfect climate, perfect topic, perfect for what's going on. And all we need to do, folks, is just take responsibility that we have been blessed with really great products and a really great business that basically nobody in the world knows about, and accept the responsibility to let as many people as possible know about it. And if we make it about them and not about us, things will happen a lot faster for all of us than they currently are. Okay, it'll go faster because people want to know that somehow they came first when you thought of it. Okay, you put their situation first. And I'm telling you, there's a bond that comes from that. And there's a trust that comes from that. And there's a you may have heard this term before, but in April and I talk about this all the time. I'll meet somebody, she'll introduce me to somebody or vice versa. And I will say that person's likability factor is off the charts. We need to get that person in the business, okay? I call it a likability factor. A lot of different people have different terms for it, but you know what I mean when you meet one of them. It's like, you're like wowed. You know what I mean? You're wowed when you meet them. And that's, you know, that's what we're all looking for in the business. You know, we want to be that likable person and we want to draw that likable person. And the way we do that is by putting them first. Okay, that's the way we do it. And, you know, if you want to be safe with this, with your approach, if you're not completely confident with how to go about doing it, then go back to the basic rule of network marketing. Find a problem and solve it. Okay. In other words, when you meet somebody and they share something that isn't quite right, do an, oh, by the way, and never say, I have something that'll help you. I have something that'll fix that. Just say, I don't know if this is of interest, but I might have something that could work for what we were just talking about, or work for you with what we were just talking about. And when you identify a problem and offer a solution, that doesn't mean they're going to say, sign me up. And that doesn't mean they're going to say, send me a card. But here's what it does mean. You thought enough about them to bring up a possible solution to what they're dealing with. And maybe a month or two from now, they may just reach back out to you and say, remember when we were talking about this and you said there might be a solution? That's when it ends up happening. That's when the magic happens. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But anything else you got, April?
No, I think we've given them a lot tonight. So again, we're in networking, connecting with people, not selling.
It's called network marketing, not
Network.
selling marketing, you
Yeah.
know, it's called network. So anyway, we appreciate you all, and thanks again for having a better April than March. And let's, at the end of May, let's be celebrating a better May than April. And we'll stay in touch. You know how to reach us. Otherwise, it's every Sunday night at 8 Eastern time. And don't forget the company trainings on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern on Facebook Live. So have a great night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate
Bye-bye.
it.
Thank you so much.